Hi everyone. It's Larry. I haven't made a video in quite a while, and so I'm going to make a really brief video here. It's going to be 3 or 4 minutes long, and I wanted to just talk very quickly about something that I've kind of been thinking about. Um, During COVID, my earlier videos. I was home, like here in Virginia, with my father almost exclusively, and then I got to travel a little bit. I made a few trips in 2022. By the way, Happy New Year, everybody! This is the last day of 2022, um, which was kind of a goofy year for a lot of people, but interesting year, and very hopeful that 2023 will be better for everybody, including myself. I was thinking back on my experience with Jeopardy, the TV show, and I actually have kind of a long personal history with the show on TV and watching it and enjoying it. And in the past couple years, I've tried out like 3 times on Jeopardy.com to get on the show, or just to test my ability compared to the contestants you see on the show. And I wanted to share very quickly my experiences with that might help somebody who's trying out for the show. By the way, if you enjoy broad knowledge, if you watch the show sometimes and you answer a bunch of the questions and you're good at trivia, and of course, if you're going to get on the show, you got to know a lot about a lot of things because they can ask you literally about anything. Then you should go to Jeopardy.com and try out. It's a really easy process to do. They ask you 50 questions. You have to type in the answers, and you need to get, to my knowledge, you need to get 35 out of 50 correct to go to the next phase of the tryout process. It's a 3 or 4 step process to actually get yourself on the show. Very quickly, a little history about myself with Jeopardy. When I was a kid, in the late 60s and early 70s to mid 70s, Jeopardy was on TV, and the host of Jeopardy, I'm looking at it now on Wikipedia, was a seminal god of 70s and 60s television. His name was Art Fleming, and you almost never hear about Art Fleming. Art Fleming served as the host for all versions of the Jeopardy show between 1964 and 1979. He preceded Alex Trebek by many years. And what I remember about the show, it was like they didn't have the graphic stuff. They had like cardboard slots for the answers, and they would show all the questions like they do on the current show. The lowest value on the show was $10, and it went down to like $50, and then it was more for Double Jeopardy. And in the end, a winning contestant might walk away with $1,000 or $2,000. And Art would do something like this before the question would be asked. He would look at the camera. He would say, "The answer is," and then the question would come down, and the contestants would buzz in, and that's how they did the show. And to watch Jeopardy, then Jeopardy was on in the morning, like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, in most of the country. I lived in the Midwest then, and to get on the show or to watch the show, you had to be like, they didn't tape it, of course, back in the 60s. You had to actually watch it live, and to be a kid, you had to be like sick at home, or you had to be, because it was like on the weekdays in the mornings for housewives then and stuff like that. And I saw it several times, and I was captivated by it. Fast forward to the Alex Trebek version and watching that, and then in the early '90s, I lived in Los Angeles, and at that time, really before the internet was widely used, you had to go down there in the studio really to try out for the show. And so since I lived in LA, I went down to, I think it was like on Sunset and Gower near there, near their old studios, and tried out for the show. And it was a pencil and paper process, and you sat in this auditorium, and the coordinator came down and they gave everybody the paper, and you answered the questions almost like a history test in school, and you had like 30 minutes or whatever, and then you had to hand it in. And I'm looking around at the other people trying out, and it was amazing. It looked like Wall Street. It was all these guys in suits, and all these guys, that looked like business people and people that you might see in New York or Chicago or something that I never saw in LA. Now maybe they flew in for it. I don't know. You never saw people. Everybody in LA then was like dressed in casual stuff and with chains and hip hop and all that stuff. And here you're surrounded by these guys that look like Gordon Gecko or something. And I said, what's going on here? So I tried out and I filled out the test and I answered the questions. And I got through the first round, and they had interview process after that and other things. And then I got weeded out and I didn't get on the show. So fast forward to, the recent times, and now you can go to Jeopardy.com and you can try out. You can try out for the student college version or the adult mainstream show that's on here on my television at 7:30 on ABC. And so I've done the online thing and I've done it. And here's a couple hints. Here's what they do. You log in and everything, and they quickly ask you, they have a category and then a question, and then you have to type in the answer. Now, you don't have to spell it exactly right, but you got to really be prepared because it goes quick and it's 50 categories and 50 questions. And one thing, you can't get hung up if you miss a question and then later you remember it. You got to really focus on the immediate thing, which simulates the show very well. So you type in the answer and then they'll come up with another category, and then you think real quick and you type in the answer. And when you type in your answer, you can click next to log in your answer. If you don't do